And we're live.
Oh, damn.
1, 2, 3, 4. You make me wanna die. Just trying to stay alive. Some days I wanna die, but I don't wanna say goodbye.
Hey, all you mutant goons from beyond. We're back with an all-new episode. I'm here with my esteemed colleague, co-host, and cohort, Mr. Mikey. Say hey to the mutant goons, Mr. Mikey.
Hello, everybody. Hello, my twin.
Yeah, that's right. We're twinning today. In fact, we didn't even plan this, but we're wearing, what does it remind me of? Battletoads? We're wearing the same tank top, except I'm yellow, you're black. So, yeah, hey, look, yeah, and we got the same haircut, zero on the sides, high fade, and just a trim at the top, and a slightly trimmed beard, so you can't be more twinning for you video watchers out there. So I hope we're dripping some sort of swag on this episode here. But yeah, other than that, it's still Black History Month, still February. How was your February so far, Mikey? A lot of stuff going on, I'm sure.
I don't remember, but there is the biggest thing is I just got back from Atlanta filming a short film over there. But I know that it is February and it is Black History Month, and we haven't done anything for it. So Doug and I were like, hey, let's find a movie with Black creators and cover it, and also cover any films that we have in the past that we want to mention regarding horror films that were made by Black content creators as well. So we definitely wanted to show some love on this day for Black History Month.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of Black creators out there, but I feel like we gotta me and Mikey both found this one, and we both kind of like did this glance of like, oh, we got to do this movie. Because one thing Mikey, you love like low budget trash too, like I do.
Yes.
And like movies like that, because I feel like there's a story behind it. Like not necessarily that the movie itself is out there, but it's like that these people who probably work regular jobs like me and you know what I mean? It's like, you know what? Hey, let's get the idea to make our own movie. You know what I mean? Like fuck what the budget is. We'll just work with whatever we have and the people we have and locations we can find. And let's just make a fucking movie. And let's try to make it as serious as possible. But then that's when you get like, movies like The Room, or one of my favorite movies that came out in the 80s that was I met the director too. He was like missing for so many years. But it's called Black Devil Doll from Hell. And that was a really rare movie when that came out, because, they just decided to make a fucking movie and distribute it on VHS, and it was at some mom and pop video stores. And the movie kind of fell off the face of the earth and became this big like cult classic thing to collect. In fact, VHS collectors would find the VHSs and sell it for like $8,000 to $10,000 on eBay, and people would buy it. Really? So you go to websites like Horror Boobs or like on VHS collectors and stuff. That movie was super sought after, and then Massacre Video ended up finding the director Chester Turner, who made it, and they released a DVD of it, but it's shot on VHS. It's really crappy looking, but you want to know what? Everyone tries their hardest in the film, and it lives on. Look at all these years, you would have never thought. It's like they made a weekend. They used a weekend in the 80s, and like, you know what? Fuck it, let's just make a movie. And it's still out today, and collectors are sought after it, and that's kind of what this movie looked like when I saw it. But now with Tubi, everything's a lot more accessible, so it's a lot easier to track down. Yeah. And what's the name of that movie, Mikey?
Tiffany the Doll. But I wanted to mention real quick, I think I haven't seen it. I've been meaning to, but didn't Mystery Science Theater cover Black Devil Doll?
No, they did a movie called Devil Doll, which is like a 1950s movie with a ventriloquist dummy. I know exactly what you're talking about, but Black Devil Doll from Hell was one that came out in the like early 80s, like 1984, I believe. But it was shot on like a home video camcorder. The quality is terrible. But you want to know what? It's like a doll that has sex with this woman that's a really religious woman, and it's like, I'm gonna let my tongue go and slide your pussy, bitch. And and the thing is, like, she gets assaulted by this puppet, and then all of a sudden she's like, wait a minute, I'm gonna become a slutty whore. I love having sex. What church has done this to me? I've been holding back all these years. I love sex. And so now she tries to go find this puppet. She has sex with a lot of other men, but she's like, none of these men satisfied me as much as that puppet did. So she tries to go find it. And search it out. Black Devil Doll from Hell.
That's how it happens.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, unknown horror films that are made by Black content creators. I mean, of course, we have the big names, Jordan Peele, making 3 films so far that I feel have been hugely successful. But there is a movie that I wanted to call out, and I think I always mention this movie whenever it comes to people being like, "Hey, anybody know like a slasher that you recommend that I may not know about?" And I do. It's called Dead Tone, and I don't remember when I first saw it, but randomly, I don't even know how I stumbled upon it. I think I may have back when Netflix was mailing you DVDs instead of you just streaming it online. I found it and I added it to my queue, and like a couple months later, it just showed up because you have like your queue, just like they send you the next thing and you forget what you have in your queue. So it showed up, and it's a slasher movie. It is from 2007, and it's very early 2000s slashers. And I've mentioned before in this show, early 2000s slashers are one of my favorite era of slashers because they're so cheesy, and you have like the popped up collars and people like, the ripped up pants with the flip flops. It's a very interesting time. But basically, it's about these students that go party at a big house together, and they play this game called 75 where you prank call somebody and you have to keep them on the phone for 75 seconds. And if you do, you win. If you don't, you lose. And they end up pranking. So there's like it starts off with them doing it as kids. They do it, and it like this killer shows up and like kills all their parents or something. It's very wacky. So one of the most unbelievable things of the movie is that they do it again as teenagers. I'm like, I'm sorry. If me and my friends' parents got killed because we played a stupid game, there's no way we're going to keep playing this game. So they do it again as college students with a big group of people in a party, and they accidentally call a serial killer, kind of like they did the first time. So the serial killer comes to the big mansion and starts hunting them down one by one. But it is directed by 2 Black individuals, and it has a lot of Black actors in it. But it's a pretty diverse cast. You have a Hispanic woman, you have a Hispanic man who is gay. I believe he's Hispanic. But you have a gay, what I think is Hispanic man. So like even outside of like Black and white and Mexican, like you also have a gay representation, which was really cool. It was like one of the first times I saw that in just like an everyday slasher. But also it has Will Horneff in it, which many people may not know who he is. I think his biggest thing was like being in Mighty Joe Young, but he was also one of the stars in my favorite Ty West movie called The Roost, which was Ty West's first film. So already I was like, okay, cool, because I thought he was cute. But yeah, check it out. It's called Dead Tone, and I think it's on Tubi, or apparently IMDb says it's on Crackle, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's on Tubi and Crackle. And I mean, I just Googled it and I already see everyone has the Justin Bieber hairstyle. They're all wearing the puka shells, the popped up pink polos.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. 2007 at its finest.
Yeah, I
So,
think one of the guys also is, if we have any gay listeners out there that have watched the Eating Out series, I think one of the guys is from the second Eating Out movies or the first. I don't remember. But yeah, so it's kind of funny to see them go from gay comedy to playing like a typical straight frat bro. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's always top of mind when it comes to independent films made by Black film creators. And also, as a special shout out, watch is it Horror Noir on Shudder, the documentary about.
yeah, it's that one. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I love that documentary, and I don't like documentaries, but I was watching it and I was like, holy shit, I want to go watch all these movies because I haven't seen much of them. Like I still need to see Blackula. Our sister podcast Frightmares just covered it last week, and they're actually doing a really extensive Black History Month theme for their show, so check them out. They've been doing really good episodes. Each episode this month is covering a Black horror film. I was gonna say Blaxploitation, but I think Blackula was the only Blaxploitation one that they've done.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't count as horror, but one of my favorite, like even I saw this as a kid, but one of my favorite ones, I don't think Abe would like it, but it was Coffee with Pam Grier. So it's exploitation, you know what I mean? Like, man, but that's like one of my favorite, like Blaxploitation. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies. So if you have the chance, check out Coffee. with Pam Grier, because that's another classic that needs to be seen by more people. So,
Yeah. And then there's a movie out there. I think it might be blaxploitation, but it's like a zombie movie, but you can't tell it's a zombie movie by looking at the cover.
oh, I know what you're talking about. Sugar Hill.
Yes, Sugar Hill. Is that
Yep,
blaxploitation?
that's blaxploitation. I love that. I have that on Blu-ray, so that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
I want to see that one. Because it looks really cool.
Well, that used to play. I don't know if you guys still watch over-the-air TV, but what was it called? Retro Antenna TV. They always played Sugar Hill on TV, like the censored version. So that's when I first seen it. I'm like, man, this is a really good like 70s movie. It's like Coffee, but with voodoo zombies, and they have like ping pong ball eyeballs. And yeah, she's like, I'm gonna raise my voodoo dead up, and it's awesome. Check it out. And yeah, I think it takes place like on a plantation, and like all the zombies from the plantation come up. It's awesome. But yeah, Sugar Hill, that's what it's called, Sugar Hill. So check that one out.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. And then also, I'm pretty sure, but he's seen this one. But if you haven't seen Tales from the Hood, watch that, because that is not only a great horror movie made by a Black filmmaker, but it's just one of the best horror movies from the 90s in general, especially anthologies. I think in our episode we did of Creepshow, we mentioned it, how I think next to Creepshow, Tales from the Hood is probably second place in the best anthology.
Oh yeah, that's what. Besides Creepshow 2 and Creepshow, like Tales from the Hood is like the next best one. In fact, in Trash Juice, I know you weren't there, Mikey, when we were filming it, but your fake head says otherwise. But I referenced Tales from the Hood in that one when it's like the shit, because that's like one of the big things is the the guy who's telling the stories is like you're looking for the shit. Well, I'll bring you the shit, and like give us the shit. All right. One shit coming like it's hilarious. So if you've seen Tales from the Hood, then you know what I'm talking about.
That's like the caretaker, right, or whatever his name is, says
that
line.
Yeah, and he's like chewing his cigar. He's like, the shit.
Yeah, I forgot that actor's name, but he's pretty prolific in horror.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other notable mentions you'd like to give a shout out to?
Another one, I know we mentioned this before, but the director, let me pull up his name, because I was all set on Chester Turner for Black Devil Down from Hell, but the director of Demon Knight, the Tales from the Crypt movie, let me pull it up here. Can't remember. I'm blanking out on his name here. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Who directed this one? Ernest Dickerson. So yeah, Ernest Dickerson's another big one there. Nice. And yeah, he did movies like Bones, Demon Knight. So if you remember Surviving the Game with Ice-T. And who else is in the crazy guy with the big horse teeth? I'm trying to remember his name.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, yeah. See, horse teeth did it. But yeah, he directed a lot of like the '90s action movies. He's kind of just probably relaxing now. I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah. A lot of his movies, Bones. I loved Bones with Snoop Dogg.
Bones is good, and it has Catherine Isabel as a little special shout out. But also, speaking of Snoop Dogg. Did you ever see Snoop Dogg's Hood
of Horrors?
I think that's what it was.
I never seen it. That was always on DVD, like at Blockbuster and stuff, from what I remember. But I never watched it. I probably should though. I think it's on Tubi. I thought I saw it on Tubi.
I saw it a long time ago when I lived in California, and I remember liking it. But I think there was like some stuff that was like really gnarly in it too. But yeah,
I think you have to be high to watch it. I'm sure. Like I wish like, in Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horrors, it came with a free joint or something.
But yeah, so director of Tiffany the Doll is Felicia Rivers.
Felicia Rivers, yeah. So I'm pulling her up right now here, and Felicia Rivers. Well, she has a picture on IMDb, and yeah. She? So she's directed 50 things. Holy shit. Black Mermaids, Pieces, not the one we're thinking of. Black and Blue Tears. So she's directed a lot of Killer Queens, Slay Queen. So a lot of movies with Queen in the title. Yeah, where the hell did all these go? Lilith Ball, Seven Deadly Sins. So she's done a movie called Strange Things. That's cashing on Stranger Things. Where the hell are these movies? I've never seen them before.
I think a lot of them are shorts. They all say short, or most of them say shorts next to them. But yeah, no, she definitely has done a lot. Tiffany the Doll probably is going to be her biggest as of now, only because the trailer kind of went viral.
It did, yeah. I've seen this on Instagram. Like people were like, "Oh, look at this."
Yeah.
And yeah, so hey, good for her. That's what I really feel like it is now. TikTok and Instagram. If you get your trailer to go viral, then more people will check it out.
Yeah, and honestly, like it doesn't matter if I mean, obviously they had a super low budget and the trailer went viral because people were like, I can't believe this is a thing. But like we don't have movies like that anymore. We had a lot of them in the 80s, and I mean, I guess Full Moon gave it to us in the 90s, but like when it came to things that were just kind of like really wackadoodle, I feel like we don't really get movies like that anymore. So when we do, I love it. And especially because, we talked about how um we wanted to watch this because it's kind of like they take it seriously, but it becomes a cult classic. And I always think that's the key when it comes to these movies about obscure things. It's like just take it seriously. And if it ends up being funny and people want to make it a cult classic, like it's perfect. But I think it happens when people actually try and put effort in it. Because you can always tell. Even if it's like not the best movie, you can always tell when people actually were taking it seriously and not just like, oh, we're gonna make a movie about a killer sex doll. Let's just, be funny about it. No, like, you know, let me determine what's funny. And then you just work on what you're gonna put in front of me.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I saw too. Like that's why The Room works so well. But this, like when I saw the trailer, what it reminded me of is like early 2000s movies that you'd go to the dollar store and find. You know what I mean? Where it's like people were, well, maybe but when I was younger, my mom used to go to like this Mexican. It was a restaurant slash store, and in the dollar DVD bin they had like these Mexican movies. And I remember we bought one of them, and it's like the pictures look like it was just taken on a regular like old camera, and it says like a movie, and you know what I mean, like it looks like it was made in someone's backyard, and then you
Yeah.
watch the movie and it's like it's a fucking home video, and
Yeah.
it's a movie. That's what it reminded me of. And then you go look up that movie and you can never find it again. There was one called here's a deep cut for you. There's one we got called Nacho Chihuahua, and the cover had a chihuahua. It looked like a family movie and stuff, and then you take it home and we watch Nacho Chihuahua, and it's like someone's home video, and it's just showing like the chihuahua like shaking like that, and it's like, I'm Nacho Chihuahua and these are my dogs, and this is the spicy piqui, this is picante, this is solento, this is like, you know what I mean? It's like someone just voicing over in the background while recording their pet.
It was probably the owners of that restaurant trying to make their film career take off by selling their movies as something else.
That's what I thought, but I went on eBay and yeah, Nacho Chihuahua is a real VHS. Apparently it's rare now. So
That's funny.
yeah,
Well,
so check it out.
Tiffany the Doll is definitely higher quality than a VHS tape. Uh, you're not going to get your 4K restoration of Tiffany the Doll, but it's passable. Um, I, what did you think when you saw the trailer?
When I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh shit, this is the one I gotta seek out and find. Because the thing is, like, I love these movies that are like shot and you could tell like the sound is bad, and you
Mhm.
could just tell it's like, oh, they filmed it, but they're being serious about it. And that's what I think why the trailer went viral, is because people knew it's like they're actually trying to make a legit movie and they're not making it like a joke or anything.
Yeah.
The actors are all trying, and when you watch the movie, I know it's prominent in the trailer, but they're sex dolls. I think that's even funnier, that they're trying to make you believe that these actors that are just sitting there, they're real people just sitting there as still as can be, and they're saying, oh, this is Tiffany the sex doll and she's alive, and it's like she's laying in the bed and she just kind of does this head turn, and it's like, are you trying to make me believe that that's a doll? Like,
Yeah. I think that was the funniest part for me because I was watching it and obviously it made me chuckle here and there because, some of the acting was like, oh my goodness, they couldn't do another take. But whenever it actually shows Tiffany the doll and it's literally just a girl sitting down with like some sort of, I don't know, like lingerie dress. I can't remember what it was. Um, I was like, and then she's like keeping her fingers closed like a doll would. And then she starts moving. I'm like, okay, like I appreciate them trying with everything else, but I especially love that they did not try to actually make her look like a doll. Like not even like maybe, drawing some lines or making it seem like, I don't know, something is plastic. And the excuse for it is these are the most realistic sex dolls they've made. And it's like, I there was parts. So when they actually go to the sex store and they have a couple of them lined up, there's actually some actors that were so like doing really good, keeping super still, that I was like, okay, that actually could pass as maybe a really realistic looking doll. I forgot which ones it was, but I was keeping an eye on them because some of the funny parts is just seeing them blink, especially because later on it comes into play where like she blinks and it freaks out the guy that bought her. I'm like, she's been blinking this whole time.
Yeah, that's what they said. They're like, and we've been programmed them to blink. And
Yeah.
what was the price of them? Like $10,000 for a
It
human
was
sex doll?
$10,000. Yeah. Um, I did read that Tiffany the Doll is a extended version of a short call of the same name from last year. I mean 2020 or 2021. So I think the director and the woman who plays Tiffany, her name is Mahogany Darkberry. She was Tiffany the Doll as well in the short. So, but I think she did really good. Um, it's just, it's so funny, and I really enjoyed it. Um, my we'll get there later. So to give some background, the official summary is she's the perfect partner. She can fulfill your every fantasy, and she's all yours for a price. The new toy, Tiffany, is no ordinary doll, but you have to play to find out. The end.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like everyone's just like, oh, I can't wait to pre-order. And this sex store, like, it's a very busy sex. I mean, have you been to a sex store recently? Like, they're not like it's like a ghost town in there.
Not not recently, but I have been to like an adult novelty store before, and there really isn't that many people. And that was one of my critiques also, is I was like, okay, if this happened in real life, not there wouldn't be that many people buying it regardless of the price. Like, this movie makes it seem like everybody's gonna go get a doll. Like, it doesn't
Well,
matter who you are.
yeah, they made it seem like it was like the Chucky doll. It's like, oh, it's the hot new toy. It's shipping worldwide everywhere. Everyone wants one. And the thing is, like, you don't even have to fuck it. You can just take it home, and it can be your own partner. And your
Yeah.
partner could even enjoy it too. Because if it's not real, then it's not cheating, right? Like that's dialogue that was brought up in the movie.
Yeah, and then also, I don't remember the names, I apologize, but the main girl's best friend, who is kind of like the second main character, I forget her name. Her story with her husband is that I think the doll just shows up, and she thinks the husband got it, but the husband thinks that she got it. Maybe she did get it. I don't remember. But they are kind of like flirting with the idea of having a three-way relationship with this doll. And that's what the short's all about, is that story. But it's, and then they take the doll to dinner and they sit it next to them at the dinner table, and I'm like, okay, this
It was
is
like a
little...
hookah bar, wasn't it? Like
I thought it was a dinner table.
maybe they do. They end up in a hookah bar later. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. Now that was the couple where she's like, "You never want to fuck me anymore. I was all ready. I took a shower, and you don't even want to fuck me."
He's busy.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, he's busy, but you have enough time for fucking Tiffany the doll." So
Yeah, so she thinks it'll like spice in their sex life, and he's kind of like, whatever. Um, yeah, and then the main character is like super intent on buying the male version, which I think was his name, Henry.
Henry, yeah, that was the one with the big package. She's like, "Wow, you can even feel the." She's like, "You can even feel the heat coming off the balls."
Yeah. So the movie starts off with these two girls going to, well, it establishes their friendship and their relationships, and then the main character takes her best friend to the sex store, and the best friend's like, I can't be seen here. And they go to like this demonstration of the sex dolls, and they're so excited to get one. It's $10,000. Everybody's trying to like figure out how they can pay for it. And there was even a guy who, like, I guess they were trying to make him look a little geeky, like glasses and like dressed up. And he goes and he was like, I'm interested in the dolls. I was here for the demonstration the other day. And the guy's like, are you interested in the girl one or the guy one? He's like, it's 2020. Like, I have to ask. Nothing against it. He's like, the girl one. Which I thought that line was funny. But yeah, I wish they would have done more with the kills.
Yeah, I almost forgot like halfway through it. Like I was so intrigued by just like the sleaziness. I think when I was watching it, I'm like, Mikey, you got to see this movie. Like when they're saying, and we got dildos, we got lube, we got this, and look at these dolls. They could go on and they could. But I'm like, oh, this is super sleazy. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I almost forgot about the kills, to be honest.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, so the first sex scene, I think maybe the only sex scene we get is the nerd. I think it was the nerdy guy. He's like having sex with Tiffany the doll, um, and like he's doing the motions, but he is wearing boxers, so it literally looks like he's just humping her. And so, like, I'm not saying you have to have nudity in the movie, but like at least show him from the waist up. Cause like it was very visible that he like you could basically see all of his boxers while he was having sex with her. And it was just kind of like, okay, well, I know they're not having sex because he's wearing boxers, but
Well, see, that's the thing too. Like, I can't stand when people are like having sex, like clothed sex scenes in movies. But yeah, this one here, I feel like it's like, oh, let's just do it this way, and then the audience can pretend that they're having sex, like they are with the dolls in this movie. Like, let's just pretend the audience, come on, just pretend that you know what I mean. It's like it's hard to explain.
yeah,
But
I mean, we know 99% of movies, it's simulated sex. Is that the right term? Simulated means that you're faking it, right?
yeah,
Well, we all know it's not really happening, but you use the angles to help with the illusion that it's not happening. Whereas this was like a very wide shot of a man having sex with a woman with underwear on.
yeah, and I think he tried to do, from what I remember, because it's been a few weeks since I've seen it. But was he doing like the Steve Urkel voice, like, oh yeah, oh that's so hot, oh, like
I think so.
Yeah, he was like doing the nerdy voice.
Yeah.
So
But you know, that's just me being perverted, being like, make the sex scenes better. But if you weren't going to make the sex scenes better, at least make the murder scenes better, because it's a horror movie after all.
well, not technically. On IMDb it says it's sci-fi.
Which I don't get.
I don't.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I saw that earlier. I thought that was funny too, because even the short and the movie are listed as sci-fi, but I don't know.
Well, one thing I found funny, and this is like from a filmmaking standpoint, was a lot of the cuts in here. You can tell what it was like night for day, and there's one scene where they're saying like, "Oh, how late has it been?" And like one scene they're talking on the phone, it's night, and then the other scene it cuts to and it's the day, and yeah, it was. I mean, it's just kind of funny. So I feel like the whole thing, it's like, oh, let's just make it let the audience pretend that they're in the same time zone here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found that funny. I like that stuff.
Did you also notice the clip that was obviously supposed to be deleted that was still there in a cutscene?
No, what scene was that? I missed it.
I think it's when they're in the adult novelty store, and like it's supposed to like clip over to something, but there's like a split second of some like another scene that comes up, and you're like, well, I know that wasn't supposed to happen.
Well, they must have ran out of their Da Vinci Resolve trial, because
they couldn't go back and fix it.
Yeah, because I noticed the fonts on here, like the opening credits. I'm like, oh, I know that's from Da Vinci Resolve. And then some of the music, I'll admit to it, but some of the music they use like during the end scene where the guy's like running through the house with the gun at Dr. Love's mansion.
Yeah,
that's the same music I used for Squirrel Fingers and Trash Juice, like when he's getting attacked. So I'm like, oh, that's
that royalty-free
music.
But you know what? I appreciate the effort and I appreciate the movie. The only thing that I didn't appreciate is that fucking ending, Doug. What the
Oh, it's funny when you said that. So when we were doing Tiffany the Doll today, I had to rewatch the ending. I was taking a shower and I'm like, let me just put this in the video here so I can watch it, because I don't remember the fucking ending. I'm like, I watched this
because there's no ending. By the way,
ending.
Spoiler alert, if you want to watch it, it's on Tubi. It's in like super short. It's wasn't it like 71 minutes?
Yeah, it's like an hour and 16 minutes or so.
Yeah. So if you want to watch it, it's super short. Watch it on Tubi. This is going to be where I actually talk about a spoiler, because, we're going to talk about the ending.
Well, it's a blink and you miss it ending. It's like, because I remember watching it, I'm like, wait, is it over?
Yeah.
And so I rewatched it today, like right before we recorded here. I'm like, so I don't know. It's weird. It's like the bad guy is like, so you've come to my domain. I'm the creator of these dolls. I'm Dr. Love. We're going into spoilers, right? Like we could.
Yeah.
Really spoil.
Spoilers are now abound.
Yeah. So he's fighting with his wife in the car. He's like, your fucking Tiffany sex doll is killing everybody. And what are you doing? And she's like, my secret ingredient for these Tiffany sex dolls is love, and that's all we need is love. And she pulls a gun. She's like, look, Tiffany will not do anything. Here you go, Tiffany. Here's a gun. And then she's like, look, Tiffany's not shooting me. And Tiffany just
shoots her,
blows a hole in her head. And like, you build up to like it's like this big scene. It's like we meet the bad guy finally, like the creator, and it's just like, oh no, well the doll just shot me, and then he runs out of his house. He's like, Tiffany's killed Dr. Love. What are we gonna do? We got to kill these motherfuckers. Like they're shipping worldwide. Maybe we can only kill enough in this neighborhood, but we can't kill all of them in the world. And she's like, well, what are we gonna do? And the wife is like, well, I know what I got to do. And then they drive off, fade to black, and it's over.
Yeah. It reminds me of like when I write, especially when I get to the ending, I'm like, I don't know how to end it. And then I just didn't finish it because it was I don't even know how to explain it, but I kind of knew what they were trying to do, and it is a very blink and you'll miss it, because literally at that point was the one point where my mind started to wander, and I was like, oh, let me see if anybody's texted me. And I looked at my phone, and then I looked up and the credits were rolling. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
exactly.
and so, yeah, I mean, I guess they're insinuating that they're gonna go on this adventure to go kill all the sex dolls, but we don't have the budget to show that. So imagine it, just like imagine the guy wasn't wearing boxers.
Yeah, so just yeah, exactly. The just imagine ending, like make believe. But what I find funny with that whole thing is it's one of those endings like where it's just like, well, we gotta fucking finish it somehow. Let's just do it. Because there's a movie I really like called Death Screams, and it's put out by Arrow Video. But if you watch it, that has the funniest, like it's like a thing where like we gotta just end it. We don't know how to end it. So when they finally kill the killer in that movie in Death Screams, they have the big fat sheriff there. They're like, why did he do it? Why was he the killer? And the sheriff just turns the camera and says, oh, and then the movie just credit rolls. So this falls into the territory like, what the fuck happened to the ending? And that's how you explain it. Like, you know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, I'm really glad that we saw it. There's definitely some people I would not recommend this to. But
No, I think we recommended it to the goons, the other ones here. We Jason watched it. We invited him, but we got a no reply, so he just left us on red.
yeah, Jason, jeez. But no, I think the people that actually like make short films or do any type of creative things will probably find things that they like about it, and also appreciate just the work it takes to make a movie, even if it doesn't have an ending. Um, and it's kind of like motivating to be like, okay, if Miss Rivers was able to knock this out and it's on Tubi, like there's no excuse why we can't do our movie. So it's yeah.
Yeah, it's this is a totally inspirational movie for like amateur filmmakers or people that just want to make something. You know what I mean? Like get it up on Tubi. Someone will see it. If only a handful of people see it, someone saw it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and also
So,
I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this movie because of all the word that went around about the trailer, and how funny it looked, and just the things about it that make it kind of special. And because we all see those movies on Tubi that's like, oh, that looks bad, I don't want to see that, but it's like, this looks bad but I do want to see it. And so,
well, I think this was better than the Tubi original, the Terror Train movie. So take that with a grain of salt.
how dare you, Doug?
Well, okay,
How
Terror
very
Train
dare you.
both.
There you go.
Both.
There, that's better. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think if you are able to watch something extremely low budget with faults and get enjoyment out of something like that, then yeah, watch it. If you're looking for like the next Blumhouse movie, no, don't watch it.
No, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like this is a perfect movie for like mystery. Like, if you and your friends have a mystery science theater night or something like that, where you guys are just roasting the movie, this would be a perfect movie to do because
Yeah.
it's funny. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fun thing with when you can find movies where it's serious and the jokes aren't in the movie. The joke is like what the viewer can joke about it, if that makes sense. So just riff on it.
My friends and I used to get together in college and watch really shitty movies and drink and order pizza and laugh, and this would have been a perfect one to have one of those nights.
Yeah, that's funny. I did the same thing too. So
Twinsies.
and the thing is, like, even if your friends have seen it once, over all these years, they'll still say, "Hey, you remember that movie?" So you know what I mean. You made memories.
Yeah, and
it's
you'll
little
quote
stuff
it.
like this.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be something in there that you'll both quote. That maybe your friend takes you to a sex store and you say something about the sex store scene. It's memories in the making.
Exactly. Well, before we head out here, I want to give a shout out to that actor who played like he was like the sex store security guard slash like the owner, and he was hilarious. Like I think that was just naturally him. I don't think a lot of the stuff he said was scripted. Like he was just fucking funny.
I think he
So,
was the one that says that he asked the guy if he wanted the girl doll or the guy doll.
yeah, he's like, it's 2020. I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Because he's like, and we don't do returns. And he's like, well, what if I use this condom? And he's like, then you gotta squeeze out the cum. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's just saying, so we gotta throw it out back, and that's a loss in profit for us. I don't know. Some guy was like saying, can I return this condom if I don't like it? Or something like that. So,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I'm pretty sure it was ad-libbed.
Well, he was funny. I hope he gets more roles. I'm sure he has more roles in this director's roster of movies, because she's done a lot. Holy shit.
Do we know where it was filmed?
I want to imagine South Carolina, because that's where the sex store was.
Oh, okay, probably.
What was the sex store called again? Forbidden Pleasures or something?
Was it? I thought it had something to do with treasures, but maybe it was pleasures.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, it's funny. Like they make this movie like the sex store is just one of these places where everyone goes in. It's like, oh, after work, I got to stop at the sex store.
Yeah.
Because like, welcome to Forbidden Pleasures. Come on in. Let me grab your coat. We got new special anal dildo lubes. This is all on sale here. Tuesday special. You know what I mean? And they have like this this CEO conference where they're doing like this sales pitch meeting. Like, and these sex dolls are number one, and people in sitting in their chairs going like, ooh, ah. Yes.
Yeah, they're all like, and they're all sitting like an audience. It's like,
I don't know what sex store had that, because the one right next to me that I stopped at a while back, like it looked like they had vibrators from the 80s, and it was covered in fucking dust. They had like lingerie for women that were all like I don't like, it was like, holy shit, has this place not been updated since 1974? Like, what the fuck is this?
I don't know how y'all's work, but I know that every time me and my friends would like buy something, I don't know if it was policy or if they were just having fun, but they would always make you take out whatever you're buying and make sure that it works and show you how to use it, because you can't return it. But it was always funny because there's always other people around, and they're just like sitting there watching you like watch this person tell you how to shove a dildo in your ass.
Yeah, shove a dildo and it's like, here's the clit licker. So see, I'll pull mine down here. And the lady, I'm referencing, it's not there anymore. It now turned into a chinchilla shop. But yeah, the sex store next to us, it was ran by this old lady who looked like she kind of looked like a skinny version of Medea. And she's like, do you guys use toys? And then we said, well, you know, maybe on occasion. She's like, you don't use toys? I'm like, well, that's why the fingers and the tongues do everything for you. And she's like, good gracious. Well, let me show you some of my, like, she's like, I can't do anything without toys.
Oh my
And she's showing us like the clit licker, this thing that it looks like a Super Mario Brothers plant. I don't know, like some of these things. She's like, and you stuck this up your rectum, and here's the remote control. You can put it up to extreme maximum pleasure, or if you want to pussy out a little bit, you just go. So it was funny. Like I was in there having a conversation for like 40 minutes. I love meeting like interesting people like that. But yeah, it just it was crazy. But yeah, but that's the store that had like all the dust on the dildos and the lingerie and candy thongs were from like expired in 94. So
Ooh, yummy. Well, one time years ago, I think I was in college. We went, and maybe it's when the Flesh Jack just came out. And so for those of you who don't know, a Flesh Jack is a gay version of the Fleshlight, which basically means on the picture there's guys instead of girls. And so we were there, and they had like this little setup for it, and I was like, oh cool, I'll buy one. And so I bought one, and the guy at the front, and all my friends were there, and the guy at the front was like, hey, just so you know, this one's the gay one. And I was like, what? And my friend behind me was like, what the fuck does that mean? And so I don't even remember how the conversation went. It was so long ago, but it was like really awkward to be like, yeah, that's okay with me. That's why I picked that one.
and what do you say? Oh, well, you should say, what year was this?
Probably 2000. It had to be after 2006 because that's when I turned 18. So probably the same
okay.
time.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So they were probably still a little more, a little less, what's the word? Homo acceptance, I guess, is the word for it now. Because now it's like, you know, it's not even questioned anymore. But
I feel like you have to be super homo acceptance if you work at a sex store, because there's only most people that show up are men, and then they go watch their little videos in the back room for like a dime a 10 minutes or whatever. I don't know, and they have a whole gay section, so you would think that they would already be like, okay, cool, whatever. But I mean, like, what was gonna happen? Like, it's literally just a slit and a flashlight. It's not like you open it and it's this huge dick. Like,
oh yeah, well that's why they make like those porn star like assholes or like pocket pussies and stuff. I have a Sophie D pocket pussy I bought as a gag when I was in Portland.
sure.
Sophie D, we worked with her on sadistic eroticism. So when I saw her, I'm like, hey, that's Sophie D. I've never fucked a pocket pussy before like this, but hey, first time for everything.
Oh my goodness.
And there's like a cum reservoir.
Oh, gross. Well, anyways, enough about our sex toys. Yeah, do you have any closing statements for Tiffany the Doll? We knew it was going to be kind of a short episode because the movie is so short and it's not really much to cover. You can't even find it on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes has no ratings, so it's us to our own devices.
And there's no pictures like with the names and stuff, so we can't really reference like a who's who of who. But yeah, I mean, check it out. This is a fun mystery. You could do your own mystery science theater with it. It's inspirational for those that want to make a movie, because it's like, you know what, I could just use the I'm pretty sure they use the sound on their camera, because a lot of it, like when they're in like hallways and stuff, you hear like when they're talking. It's like, oh, this is very important dialogue, and I just hear the fan in the, because they were in a motel for that's one thing I saw. The guy was in a motel. He's like, I'm at home. And you see on the door, it's like the motel sign with the little lock latch. So we're like, you're not at home, motherfucker. So
lying to us.
Yeah. But no, check it out. It's a fun time. This is the kind of stuff that I find like me and Mikey found this and we're like, yeah, we got to do it. You know, other people, not so much. So this is a waste of time. But this is the kind of, you know, it's exciting. It's not mass marketed. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but you know, to friends and close friends, it is. So
yeah, and there's a lot of people in the horror community that can appreciate some super low budget projects. So I say go watch it. Unless your favorite horror movie is like, you know, I don't know,
Avengers or something.
Yeah. But yeah, so with that being said, you can always find us on Facebook at Mutant Goons from Beyond. It's a group. We'll add you to it. You can find us on Patreon, which we release episodes specifically for Patreon once a month. So if you want in on those, you can find us there at patreon.com/slasherspod. Instagram, we have 2, Mutant Goons from Beyond and also SlashersPod. Redbubble, if you want to buy any shirts or shorts, or we keep joking around about dental jams. I'm afraid some poor person is going to go look for them and be disappointed. So you know, maybe you want a coffee mug instead, but we have some awesome art made by Jake at slasherspod.redbubble.com. You can find me on Instagram at horror and a half shell, or you can find me on Letterboxd if you're into that kind of thing at Mikey and the T-Rex, and is spelled out. I don't know if you can use an ampersand. You can find Doug on Instagram at Bizarro Doug.
Doug Bizarro, you had it, just
Doug
reverse
Bizarro.
it.
Yeah, I put my thing down, flipped it, and reversed it.
Oh yeah, there you go, Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, that is not Nicki Minaj.
That's Missy Elliott.
But and I guess that's it. I hope you guys had a great February. Happy Black History Month. We love you guys. We stand behind you guys. And without further ado, Doug.
All right. Well, without further ado, I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your February and March and, you know, April, May, June, July, August, September. But anyway, goodbye and good die.
Goodbye and good die. And have a good life, as Doug just tried to say.
Yeah, I almost spit out Besta la chinga la madre. I'm learning my Spanish.
Oh my goodness. Okay, bye.
Bye.